This episode of Late Night with Ed Money is brought to you in part by Gubba Rum, where it's handcrafted artisanal rum in amazing flavors like vanilla and coconut in a striking hand-painted bottle. You can get this at your local spirit store or order direct from them. You just go to gubbarum.com or 617-964-6299. That's Gubba Rum, America's newest handcrafted rum. And Ziggy's Pub and Restaurant, located in downtown Amherst. And if you're local to them, dial for carryout at 440-985-FOOD. Or go to their website, which is ziggyspubandrestaurant.com. If it's a sporting event that you want to see, don't forget your sunglasses, because they have so many 4K TVs it'll burn your retinas. So go to Ziggy's Pub and Restaurant in downtown Amherst.
We hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.
I'll make it go away. Oh, my bad. You gotta start that over.
Warning, what you're about to hear is an adult show. You'll hear anecdotal stories and humorous situations meant for adults. In essence, kids, don't listen or try this at home. Everything you're about to hear is done by drunk, trained professionals. Now enjoy the show.
Deep within the pit of despair, balls of Christ, dude.
There you go. And why, hello, my friends. You're listening to Late Night with Ed Money here on the website, which is edmoneylive.com, where it's real people have real conversations about life. You can reach us on a ton of sites now. Just go to the main site. Everything is on the right-hand side. The Spotify, the iHeartRadio, the Amazon, the BitChute. Thank you for all the people going on BitChute now. So thank you. All the things. Rumble's right around the corner. I'll have my Rumble one up as well. And thank you all the way over to Hi Konnichiwa! Hey, I'm first chair. That's right. Thank you, our good friends, B.O.B., to all the people that have been getting a hold of me. Again, France, I got to learn French so that I can get us caught up there because we're getting people from France. But thank God for Google Translate. Thank you. Always listen to myself, Ed Money. Right over here is CPAP Chuck. What's up? Right there.
Bruh.
I can almost touch it.
Bruh.
And right over here is Ringus, the Bionic Pampered Prepper.
Hello, everybody.
He's not visible, but you can kind of see right over. Well, no, you'll hear his voice. Is Gary under glass? You gotta come up with it.
Where is he?
He's in the bathroom. He's doing his show from the bathroom. And the last but not least, always keeping us in check, he's right below me, is A1 Continuity, Wayne. And then our special guest, which we talk about a lot and I promote, and I kind of always do shout outs to him. He's a good guy. He's been on many shows in the past. He's right over here is the amazing James Quinn. And what I'm going to do is I'll put up all kinds of things throughout the show as we talk about it. the movies that he's done. Too many to name that you.
The wrong button.
Was he in a Western? What the hell?
Nothing but the best here.
Yeah.
Nothing but the best, James. So thank you for being on your. We all the time. I'll do shout outs to him and I'll mention him or I'll send him a text just making sure that he's doing all right. And we got to get on. I know
creepy.
she hit me up too. This is a big shout out to Stacy Pressman again. So she hit me out because she wanted to come back on and blah 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 blah. There's other
Awesome.
new ones coming down. This is the season for me. I'm working at a lot in the Palace. I'll be doing shows, Nutcracker, all the other ones, which I'll still talk about. But anyways, thank you for being on, James, and we'll get right into this. He's in a movie. James just came out. Well, when did you end Family Affair, which is the most recent that I know of that you did? What was the? Is there one other than that you did that's in post production?
Yeah, there's a couple in post. Family Affair was probably the most recent. That's been about 6 weeks now, I guess.
And for the audience, I'll put. Is it right to put the right in the video for those listening? Go to the YouTube channel or the BitChute, and you can see. I'll put in your because I think you only put out one little poster of Family Affair online that I saw. So maybe
that's all they had released us yet. Yeah.
Did they? Okay, I'll clip that out and I'll put that in the video here, so they'll see that when they watch that. If that's okay with you.
Oh, absolutely, man.
What's that kind of about? Can you talk about it or no?
Yeah, well, I mean, Family Affair is it was supposed to be horror, sci-fi, fantasy, a little mixture of everything. You had to come up with a monster. It was a competition that we were doing here in Pittsburgh, and basically it's about a couple of guys that grew up together. Both have become doctors on different levels. One's trying to find a cure for something, and the other one's kind of like the anti-cure. He's kind of their rivals. Didn't get along real good as kids, and so my character would be the anti-cure guy, and I'm coming to pay my respects in a different way when I come over and invite myself to a family dinner at their home. So it's pretty much I'm the outsider, but the old guy that grew up next door to everybody, and it's their family that I'm pretty much invading the night of a special occasion for the doctor friend that I kind of grew up with.
Now you shot that in Pittsburgh? Is that where you shot it at or no?
Yeah, that was in like north side of Pittsburgh. Yeah, we had a wonderful loft that was well known to us, and it was really, really cool.
How do you end up finding locations? The reason I say that is they're shooting a movie where I work at the Palace right now. I was just there today, which I'll get into in a second. But how because they tried to tell me. In fact, that director wants to come on the show. Sure. His card is around. Well, no, I have it in my box over there. But I'll put that link. I'll put
it in the building behind you.
He's on that floor right there. Then I'll do is I'll put his image of his card, the director, on the screen here too. So he wants to come on, and as a matter of fact, it's his birthday. So when he listens, happy birthday. They're shooting. They're shooting. And he was telling me how they found the location, and they shot in the grocery store right up down the street from us, which I've mentioned before, Fligner's. They shot there, but how did you? Now, were you part of the process, or were you just an actor in a movie, or did you have producing rights? Were you kind of helped invest in the film and were working end of it?
Well, yeah, this particular time I was just acting. A lot of times I'm wearing multiple hats, and I know that's usually the case as I'm trying to lock down locations and different things. The director is somebody that I worked with on past projects and asked me to come in on the acting side of things this time. So it was actually kind of nice because it was the only hat I had to wear. I didn't have to worry about whether things were running on schedule and, with location we had to get, but they did a great job of scouting that time. I don't know who they got it from, but Pittsburgh it's an awesome town to land locations in. And if you're, good with the right people, they'll work with you sometimes.
Right on.
No, so do you just go to random places and say, hey, can we shoot a film here? Or do you end up just knowing because it's a friend of a friend of a friend that you can use their house or, parking lot? Because it's funny seeing this end of it now that I saw it where I was at. They literally, it's just that little boxy that the audience sees. The rest is all illusion. They everything could be on fire. But then you see two people just sitting there having a Coke in front of the screen. And it's amazing little process. They had this one was shooting with Eric Roberts come to the Palace. And, he shot and the guy, he's been in a million a million movies. We called him the White Danny Trejo. You know, if you know who Danny Trejo is, that's in like
Machete.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Danny's been
Here's
in
the
everything.
thing.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He's one of those guys that never says no to a film, and he'll do anything. And
Yeah,
Eric,
I just watched a movie. It's been a minute, but it was called The Pool Boy, I think.
with Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's just got
Right.
that look.
He's got the look, you know, and we have James. You got to be. I'll try and get him on because this is the crazy part too. A friend of the show, Kenny Santiago Morero. He was in this again. He is this actor. We call him the living red shirt. Where remember Star Trek? Every episode they had a red shirt guy that always died. Every time he'd beam down to the planet, he'd dead.
No name.
No name.
Yeah.
Kenny was one of those guys. In fact, he's in every movie all the time that any of them that shoot within, I would say, region. Kenny gets asked to be in these movies, and there's some movies he's actually dead within the credits. Like the credits are just starting, and he's dead. There was one movie where he played a terrorist and a cop, and he was shooting himself in the movie. You know what I mean? Like he was actually shooting himself, and then he's on the other side. Oh, God. You know, that's what
perfect.
it is. Well, Eric, I always considered, and I don't mean it in a bad way, and I didn't, thank God I didn't blurt it out, but I always considered Eric Roberts like he's like a living red shirt where any movie he gets in, you're like, oh God, it's Eric Roberts. You know, I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way.
Right, right.
Just he's
been in so much.
He's been in everything. He was in The Dark Knight.
Yep, he's won major awards and been nominated for others, and he's had a long career, man. God bless him. It's we only wish we could do that much work, you know.
You remember when you're in the Beatles?
Did he act with Betty White years ago?
That was cool.
He may have. You know what I mean? You know those actors that no matter where you go, you see them on the screen. You can see anything. And well, you know, I wanted to ask you about this too, James. When you're on a set that they had, it was the first time there was one girl. She was so hot that came on, and then she changed into this sexy little outfit, and she came out. But all they talked about was craft services. Do you guys have? Is that the first thing you guys think of when you show up on a set?
It's a major topic. You'd be surprised. Yeah,
you're kidding. That's all these people talk about.
It's not the first thing I think of, but I would say the majority of people do.
And they were eating all the time. I thought you're not.
It can make or break a set. Because you can be the nicest people in the world, but if you serve crap food, man, they will dog you on social media for months. That's how into craft services people are. Yeah. It's insane. Like, I mean, yeah, I'd like to be fed like the next guy, but you know, at the end of the day, the film's what's important. You know,
what's the worst stuff you've had on a set? What's the worst? Did they give you like McDonald's or something? That's all they brought you was like some hamburgers?
Never have I had McDonald's on set. I have had like Wendy's and Burger King. It's probably, you know, as far as the lower end, something like that. But I mean, a lot of times it's pizza and sandwiches and burgers and things of that nature. But some of the higher end Hollywood sets we go on, I mean, they got steak and shrimp and roast beef. And I mean, they really do it up when you're on this higher budget project. So
I might have to start hanging out on movie sets.
Right. Do they?
Yeah.
Well, I noticed this too.
Go ahead.
There were a lot of random people, and they were like making to-go boxes. You know what I mean?
Were you there, Ed?
Yeah.
In every pocket.
We're changing his name from Ed Money to Ed To Go Box.
Well, Ed, if it was there, who was craft services for you?
They did
Out of
have
Cleveland?
they had Fligners that brought all kinds
they
of
got
cakes.
good food.
Yes.
They got good food.
They did. For James, who doesn't know, it's like it's a grocery store, but they also do catering, and then they have this wall of meat. They literally have a deli, like the entire one wall is
It's
just
like the longest
longest
custom meat counter in the United States or something.
Yeah, it really is. It's huge. And then they
I
have
have to see that.
Oh,
That's awesome.
I'll put a photo of in this spot. I'll put a photo of it for the audience on the YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel. But yeah, and then they also have these cakes and stuff. And they had, which I'm not a fan of. They had something called flan there, and I've never quite. Have you ever had? And you guys ever had flan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it though.
It's like a custard that can be caramelized on the top. That's all.
I'm not a fan.
But
of
Ed,
it.
you've also got to tell James,
It's a dessert.
You've met all this. They have a bakery section. They have a deli section. They have a meat section.
Oh,
But
God, yes.
like the craft services, they have a craft services in the store where you can get prepared meals that can be from chicken to meatloaf to steak to
Yes.
all pre-made with a
All
vegetable, with
pre-made.
a
It's all
potato,
there.
with everything. It's like $6. You get a little rubber.
It is.
A rubber tray and shit. But you could go in there.
That's
Dad
perfect.
used to do it for his parents.
Yeah.
He'd pick up like half a dozen meals, take them home the next 2 or 3 days. But they're all cooked by like, and I don't want to come out, not ethnic women, but women that grew up in Lorraine and in South Lorraine and, you know, the area of all of that. And it's all homemade stuff.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't go wrong with any of it.
I'm hungry thinking about it, man. That, you know that's got to be good.
Well, this is another thing I didn't understand. Again, this is the first time I've seen this end. I've seen like plays and things like that went on, but while they were doing there, except for the people that were acting, everybody else was just eating the whole time while they're filming. And I'm like, is this normal? I'm looking over at Leibowitz, and next thing you know, he's eating the flan, which I just didn't understand this stuff because it's not quite pudding.
Yeah, not a fan.
It has
like a creme brulee or something.
No,
I thought it was cheesecake the first time I took it.
Custard.
I was not happy when I got my first bite.
Well, first of all, it's not
Yes.
3 days old for Ed.
right. Well, no, then they had this, and we have a lot of LED lights. They were using, and I don't know the production value, but the lights that they had, I've never seen such hot, intense lights. That again, you probably have seen. And I was going to ask you, what's this thing that the director had this camera on? This kind of
was a laser beam,
and it had big giant weights on the back end of it.
Oh, it's a boom that they can raise up and down.
Jib.
Yeah, they're just like, it could be an electric one, it could be a
it wasn't
manual
electric
one. It's just that there's all kind of different sizes. It's almost like a crane for the camera.
Okay, because it wasn't
Isn't that big of a mystery to you, Ed?
Well, it was weird the way that they had these two young guys that would go, "Ugh," and they would pull it and it would whip around. And I thought, well, couldn't you just do that with a drone? Like get some drone footage to do that? Versus they put a camera up there and they had these two little guys. I don't want to call them little people because they were my height, but they were
little.
They were little. They were tiny guys, but they would grab this thing and go, "Ugh," and they would pull this giant boom. And I'm like, well, guys, think
about this, Ed. There had to be 200 or 300 pounds of counterweight to hold the boom and the camera at the other end that they were trying to move.
And they're probably trying to get a movement shot.
Yeah, but they got
time.
They got digital
for them to get
cameras now.
focused with a drone the way they will a regular camera while getting the movement. It's probably the reason they had to do that. I wasn't there, but I'm just guessing.
And I can imagine that the lenses alone on a good camera weigh more than an entire drone.
Yeah, and to set focus, they can't do that the same on a drone. Is what they need to do with regular camera.
Oh boy, I went to PA and there was the first time I had Parmoni brothers, Parmesi brothers, Permani brothers.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't think of the name.
You were close.
What are you laughing at me for? It's real good. But this is the thing. The people were the lady behind the counter was so mean. There's this little old crusty lady that was just so mean. And for the audience, if you go down in Pittsburgh where he's talking about, you go down the center and there's the PPG building and then it's in this like the Point. What do you guys call that?
You went to the Strip District, the original Permani Brothers.
Yeah,
you go past the Point into the Strip District, and that was the original. Yeah,
that's where I went in the warehouse district.
That's the best one.
Yeah, well, yeah, you go in and they got these things with like Michael Keaton on the wall. They got all these people that have gone there, and you go in and order this sandwich. And first of all, when I went, we're talking 50, 20 years ago, more.
My God.
It could be. Yeah,
Jamie Farr.
You weren't as well known, Ed.
Jamie Farr. No, but you go into this place, and it's probably the same thing. It probably hasn't changed. Yeah. You go in there, and it looked kind of like a dingy kind of. It was in the warehouse district, so probably a lot of workers went in there, and you could see the guys that eat sandwiches with dirty hands and leave the fingerprints on the sandwiches. You know what I mean? Those guys that do that.
I work with all those guys.
Yeah.
We work in an auto assembly plant,
It's a
man.
blue collar town, just like Cleveland. You know, it's a great city.
Yeah,
What's your
but
problem, Ed?
well, no, my problem is, first of all, wash your hands when you're going to eat. Don't leave fingerprints on the sandwich you're eating. That's the first thing. But the lady, they would throw this sandwich together where it looked like a dumpster, just like they throw all this stuff in and they put it in, they get this big old sandwich. And she was real mean. And she'd say, take it. You know what I mean? Like they would just give it to you. You've been there then?
Oh yeah, numerous times. Yeah, that's the original location. Probably the original workers. You probably,
Oh, maybe
I'm sure
that's
some of them could be temperamental. That was part of the.
Oh, they haven't been let loose before. Oh my God!
It's probably part of the
part
of the whole thing.
Locations. What's
Oh
that?
my!
It's probably part of the whole thing. You know,
It is. Yeah. But not all the locations are like it. Like some of the newer ones are a little fancier looking. They look like sports bars. That's the original, and that's the size of it, and they've never changed it from day one.
I mean, it was
that's what
good.
people love.
The food was good. I'm not going to deny this giant horse sandwich that I ate, and it could have been horse meat, for all I know. But it was really good. It was a good sandwich, but it was just they were. I don't know if they're. What's that place that you go? Something Last Resort, Dick's Last Resort, where they're.
Yeah, they used to be really rude to you.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the intent, or the people just didn't like me. Matter of fact,
Couldn't just be you, Ed.
That was it.
For the audience, there was one time, because it was the most, I'll say about, not Pittsburghy, Pittsburghy people, that area, because of my experience with them, because I used to travel for business, and I would go to places, go into these bars. They know everybody. When you go in the bar, or you go into a place, everybody knows everybody. I mean, I don't know if it's still that way, James, in your region, where you go into any place, they know you're not from there. And I don't know if it's because of the way I was dressed, or maybe my accent. I didn't have the right accent, because PA people have a slight different accent. You say certain things, but they knew. And you could, if you ever remember the scene from Animal House, where you go in and then you heard the record scratch, and they're like, "You're in the wrong."
It's just dead silence. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they would do that. I mean, they were good. But it's almost as if everybody around there knew, their whole region knew you weren't from that area.
And that's not everywhere, Ed, but that's like all the old original establishments where all the locals have never detoured from. So there's certain people that only go to certain places. And even if you're from Pittsburgh and never been there, you're still not, in their eyes, somebody they know. So they're always going to stop and wonder what you're up to, Not everywhere in Pittsburgh's like that. There's just certain places that are, kind of been staples in the community that people know that just been there forever.
Maybe you can. I'm sorry.
No,
maybe
go ahead,
you could tell me where this. I used to visit. A girlfriend of mine went to the Institute of Art, and it was. I remember there was an incline by this police station. It was like straight up the hill, and there was a place at the top. They called it the Castle. And she had a room there, and it was really the neatest architecture and structure.
She had
It almost looked like an old castle. It was near a cemetery that you could walk through for seemed like miles. And it was just so beautiful. But I remember going there, and I just thought it was wonderful. Everybody was so nice. Everything was great. And how unique the street. I mean, literally the streets were on a no, the point is where the
it has a little
Three
trolley
Rivers
thing.
meet.
It has a trolley
you
that
would have
goes up.
left it like Station Square, like you would have crossed the bridge from the point, but you can see the point.
Okay.
And then it would take you up over the hill to Mount Washington, and you can overlook the whole city.
Yeah. What is it? The Ohio, the Monongahela? I don't know what the Three Rivers are.
The Tigris, Euphrates,
the Nile.
No, he's laughing at me.
Ohio River.
What are the Three Rivers?
Ohio, Monongahela, and let me see. There's the Ohio River.
Euphrates?
Not the Euphrates.
You're in denial.
Ooh, well played.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyhow.
No.
So, James, what do you got coming out, man? What are you working on?
Yeah, that's what I want to...
I was going to ask you.
What's the latest, hottest stuff?
Yeah, we got post-production on a paranormal thriller we were working on last year, and when COVID started, it's called The Paranauts, but when COVID's all kicked in, we were only halfway through production, so that shelved us on that project for almost 5 months before we could get back to it. So that's in post-production. It's a feature film, about some paranormal investigators that are kind of I want to say fraudulent, but not always on the up and up until they run into a situation where they are faced with it for real. And so you have to try to survive the night. This crazy abandoned bank. This banking tycoon and his family had passed away. So all these crazy events lead up to, they start to question themselves whether it's actually happening or if somebody else on the team's screwing with them, and and then they see that it is for real. And there's a couple little twists and turns in it that I don't want to give away yet because I think once it kicks in the final moments, you'll be like, oh, I get it. Yeah,
kind of like what was that movie, The Sixth Sense, where at the end you're like, oh,
exactly.
I have a question for James, if I can. You're saying you're in post-production and this kind of stuff. With COVID, how are the releases of these movies going to change for you guys? I mean, going to theaters versus, to streaming services. What's gonna, how's that going to change everything?
I work on both sides of the coin. So when I get the opportunities to work on Hollywood films, I'm happy to be there, and it's awesome. On the independent side, I don't think it changes as much for the independent side. I think it levels the playing field a little bit. For Hollywood, I think it affects them because everything they do goes to the theater before it goes anywhere else. And so now what's happening is so many things are going right to like Peacock and Hulu and different things where you can watch them, for a fee or whatever for the first couple of weeks, and then they end up streaming somewhere else. And then there's still the DVD, Blu-ray release. So I think it's affected Hollywood more than anything, just because it's not the way traditionally that they do things. But they're also finding out that they're making a crap ton of money.
Are they?
Streaming. They are, yeah. For us, it's streaming is what's kind of on the independents on that side when I get to do that. That's kind of where a lot of the guys that I've come through the trenches with have made their names. And so we've always relied on streaming and social media and different things to get our message out there. And then when the times you get to work with Hollywood, they of course do that for you. So I've been fortunate to be on both sides of the coin there, but I think it's affected them to where they've had to change their game plan a little bit. But oddly enough, what I've seen is starting to rise again are the drive-in theaters. I don't know about your way, guys.
Drive-in
Pittsburgh and further south, man. The drive-in.
I got one a half a mile from my house.
Nobody cares, Chris.
No, they are marketing that place. No, they are marketing that place like unbelievably with new movies. Yeah. And then on Thursdays, they're having throwback Thursdays where they're bringing old movies out. And I just saw 2 weeks ago, somebody rented it and had a movie night for themselves.
Wow.
Which was cool as shit.
No,
yeah.
How much is that?
Wait a second.
I've rented a regular theater.
That's true.
I've done that with a regular theater, and it was my girlfriend and I and two kids in the whole entire theater during COVID. It was $50 for a movie for ourselves.
That's awesome.
I don't get that. Now I understand. We'll rent our theater. Well, no,
what don't you get?
Our theater will do that, but Leibowitz won't do it for just 4 people. He'll say, "Hey, we got got to have some, and you have to provide the material."
Well, this is a little small movie theater,
right? Well, yeah, I know that Oberlin you can do that there. They'll let you rent that out. But here's a question on the drive-through. This is
drive-through or drive-in?
No,
drive-in.
Yeah, and the drive-in. Yeah. Sorry, you don't want to drive.
Ed doesn't pay. He drives past it like all night so he can see bits of the screen.
I saw a pair of tits from the road. I did. I'm like, how can they do that? No, they were right. I mean, they were. Yeah.
I was just thinking.
Traumatized kids went over the freeway right there.
No, I'm just thinking a drive-in movie because I'm imagine going with my truck to a drive-in movie. Now, first of all, if they give you that stupid giant beast of a speaker that's
don't do that. They haven't done that in years.
Hold on.
You just tune in.
Yeah, but then that means it's got to come through my stereo speakers in my truck. That
most people have a nice vehicle.
Barely got them there.
I know. They're vibrating.
They just made a huge comeback because people didn't want to be stuck in the theaters, and they figured this is their way to go to the theater and kind of be privatized.
Now, Ed, you have to understand, in Ridgeville here,
my friend Sanford truck. No,
they let you back in. So if you have trucks and SUVs and stuff like that, they let you flip them around. The only thing they're very strict about here is they squeeze you all in. They don't let you take like 2 spots. And they let you bring your own. You can pay a flat fee and bring all your own food in. People bring tables, set tables up behind them, put food on them. Oh yeah,
Let's see, I
They're
take
tailgating.
the
They're
last time I
tailgating.
went to
Why would you do
the
that?
drive-in, I had Chinese. I had the number 17 extra egg roll. I'm not kidding. That's my go-to.
It doesn't it ruin the experience because there's something
No, because
about
I got Chinese food in my lap. I'm happy.
You mean you brought it and then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You went
Now,
there 2 days early and cooked a brisket.
Now, Ed, you have to understand when they went digital here, they had a couple nights where they put video games
Oh,
on
I've
the
heard of that.
projector.
See,
So you could
okay.
hook up your Nintendo or PlayStation and you played it on that giant ass screen.
That I get because we're doing that at the palace. They've already done that once. They call Perry at the Palace, and they have competitions. And there's another one coming. Because it was such a success where these kids came out of nowhere, man. Well, I couldn't say kids. There was even adults there. The parents loved it because they brought some kids, and then we had our bar open, and they were getting drunk.
They
with
could
the
get
kids.
tanked while their kids were
Yes,
playing
they're-
video
see,
games.
that I get.
Just like being at home.
That I get, right. I get that. Is the fact that you're playing a giant, like ours, it's 40 by 20, the screen, that's the huge screen. So I get it. But a drive-in, if I'm sitting next to my truck and I'm looking over at whoever I brought in my truck with the radio, we're banging on
With the
it.
duct tape and the sheets.
Restraining
friends-
order taped to the window.
I mean,
Yeah, and
the theaters were shut down. I don't know about your way, but a lot of them for more than a year. Some theaters didn't survive and got shut down completely. It was really the only way that people could experience going to the movies without being stuck at home, And
Right.
for some people, my age and older, I'm sure there was a lot of nostalgia that kicked in because you probably grew up around drive-ins, and it was
Heck yeah.
to make a comeback. I actually got very fortunate because one of the films I was in, the Boonies, got released. It's in Walmart and things now too, but it actually premiered in LA at a drive-in theater in front of tons of people.
Nice. Kidding. Good for you.
That's really cool.
For one night, but we were the #1 gross, and it was awesome.
That's cool.
I got a question. Now that a lot of your stuff's coming out, and I see you posting more and more stuff that you're in. Are you getting like more fans? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny because it's sporadic. Like you won't. It'll kind of sit idle for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you'll start getting messages and hearing from more people that you never knew before. They'll ask you questions about your work, and it's even more fun when they actually know your work.
Right on.
And they're starting to ask you questions about it, or they've seen this or they've seen that, and they want to know how it came about. But that really helped me out between streaming and these drive-in theaters. That really over the last 12 months is like you said, that's grown my own fan base, for lack of a better term. Leaps and bounds. Just getting that many more people paying attention to what we do. So for me, it's been great. Like I said, it affects Hollywood, but it's actually helped me a lot because these are the films where I really get to project myself.
That's awesome.
Oh, wait, I do have. Here's another question. Since you played a bad. What is that? What he said? I got a question. Wayne's like, oh no, that's never good.
Yeah.
No, with this whole you used a gun in your the checkmate. How does that play out with this whole Alec Baldwin thing? Give me a lesson on gun because you had to use fake bullets, right? Or no?
You have a dedicated prop guy and everything.
Exactly. We had what we had on set. We were very fortunate. This was a couple years before the Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. Well, that's just
But we had a weapons master who's very good out of Pittsburgh. He owns a machine gun range here. He knows the weapons inside out. So we did have some real weapons, and we did have some airsoft guns, but everything was inspected thoroughly. Everything was gone over with each actor before we even attempted to do it. But in terms of the flash and stuff, you see a lot of stuff gets added in post too.
Sure,
so it's really tricky for the right editor. But we were very, very cautious. And I say it all the time, man, and it's not to poke fun at it, but I'll tell people, especially if I'm running the set, that we're not going to have a Brandon Lee moment. Ever since that happened, man, I've been nervous about that myself every time we inspect everything.
Right.
So, there's insurance liabilities, and that's you don't want to hurt nobody, man.
Right.
What just happened now, it's one of the saddest things in the world. I'm sure Alec's sick over it, man. He's a great guy. I'm sure it wasn't, ever supposed to go that way, but I can't help but imagine somebody dropped the ball.
Right.
And, whether it was a props master or weapons master, I'm sorry.
For all intents and purposes, is it basically look like real bullets? I mean, everything about the gun, everything is normal. I mean,
yeah, for the most
I've
part.
never used a fake gun.
Yeah. In our case, you never saw the bullets in checkmate. You know what I mean? you saw the reaction, you saw the smoke come out of the guns and the muzzle flash and things like that. But a lot of that was added in post. And the stuff that you did see that was real was stuff that was shot from the distance and nowhere near anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, close stuff was all like CGI and different things like that.
Did you have?
You have to have something for timing, right? I mean, like a noise.
Well, they didn't go pew pew pew. Or they,
yeah.
Pew pew.
Yeah. So what we would do is, sometimes you'd have somebody actually shoot for real in the background and distance so that the sound would pick it up, or
right on.
Just never. Sometimes the noise would get dubbed in if you already recorded it earlier. They can put that same sound in something else. There's actually a scene in there in Checkmate. If you've seen it, I know Ed, you saw it a couple times.
Yeah, twice.
But toward the end of the film, where
it's on Amazon, listeners, on Amazon. Check it out.
Thank you, and then one more. But no,
it is.
That's
just
cool.
wanted to plug that real fast. But no, so there's a scene. It's just one of the things that nobody knows, but like in the end where I'm in a scuffle when I get punched in the face. Well, in that scuffle, when I pull out the knife, I actually do get punched in the face. I'm with the other actor in the head, actually. I'm with another actor, and he just kind of followed through to where he was supposed to stop. It's no big deal. We're friends. We laugh about it. But he actually followed through and connected. The thump you hear was so loud. I just stopped for a second and was like, yep, yeah, he definitely connected.
Do you see a tooth fly out or anything like that?
No, it was just right on the top of the head, but it sounded so much worse than it was. And I've been hit so many times from like boxing and different things that it wasn't that big of a deal, you know what I mean?
Well, you must have got
a
hit
mark
a lot
on the head for a little bit, so it required a little makeup. But
we probably got hit a lot when you did Sandman, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. The shots got through.
Yeah, you talked about that.
Get through. Exactly. So that's part of the deal when you do this, but you just try to be as careful as you can and pre-plan things. But my point is the sound that you hear anytime somebody gets punched in the movie, they use that sound because it was legit when I got hit. So every time you hear somebody getting hit,
it was just your sound of being hit in the head.
That's your head.
You got to play your sound effect, Chuck, for the ninjas.
We all laughed about it.
I just got to have one question about the gun thing.
Yes.
You know, I'm all about the realism. Like I'm a John Wick movie guy where he has realistic guns, and I think that because I'm the first guy, I'm pro gun, pro Second Amendment, all this because I see it, I go, that's a fake. That just looks like bullshit. I call it out, that kind of stuff. So I understand what they're doing. But the thing that just blows my mind out of gun safety, finger off the trigger, you don't point a gun at you, and all that kind of stuff that we go through, how in the world can there be any live fucking bullets on a movie set in any way, shape, or form? I don't understand that. And we don't know the whole story, but they came out, they were shooting cans or something. Look, I don't give a fuck what you do. There shouldn't be a live round anywhere within 10 miles of that goddamn movie set. That's basic one. I don't understand how that gets avoided or missed or anything.
And especially at the Hollywood level, they know better. They know better.
Yeah.
I don't care what you were doing the night before, then it gets re-inspected that day. You don't bring them onto the set. You don't bring anywhere near where you're going to be shooting with cameras.
I would even think that if you're using this gun on the set, it gets locked up at night and there's still no, here's the ammunition that goes with it.
Yeah.
There's no two boxes.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. There's no live ammunition, 0 point in the store.
And that never happens. And you're right, because I've been on a lot of Hollywood sets where I've been I played cops on Hollywood films and TV shows a lot. And each day that weapons master would come over, inspect it, check it with you, make sure there was nothing near it. You know what I mean? He'd work with the trigger, everything, show you what he wanted you to do, and then you would go do that scene. But you felt comfortable in that. That person was very experienced. They were usually ex-law enforcement or current law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always somebody that knew the weapons inside out. And so for that to happen there, I can't even fathom how that slipped past someone.
There has to be more to it because I mean, there was a couple, weren't there a couple scenarios where they were, I don't know, they weren't like picketing or on strike, but there was some kind of argument over.
I thought they were
probably craft services.
Yeah, some people walked off the job and this and that, and all of a sudden
they were replacements.
All of a sudden, there's live rounds accidentally there. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but there's got to be more to this than
right.
I can't help but think so myself.
I mean, I hate to think that, and somebody lost their life and another one got. I mean, it's the worst case scenario, and even if there was something intentional, I'm sure they did not plan on this happening. I mean,
it's hard to speak unless you're there too.
Horrible.
And I've gone over it with friends over and over, just talking about it. You have just being experienced, and if what they say is true, and maybe it was a transition process because they were firing people, some people were walking off the set.
Right.
Did safety obviously took a backseat somewhere in,
Right.
in that 24 to 48 hour period that it shouldn't have. And somebody dropped the ball that should have been watching it, or they weren't on the set, and that's it got in there. I mean, I hate to believe it was intentional. I don't believe that. But it was definitely a mistake that you can't afford to make. You just
Agreed.
can't.
Well, if you need sound effects, all you have to do is like let us know, and we can just hold mics out our windows where I work, and it's just, it's all day long. You just do that or the sirens.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because in Lorraine
That's
we get a lot of shootings, and that's a live sound from me at work. That was me.
You get all the close-ups, do you?
We do. I'm telling you, there's so much that happens in the area around here that, you know, I got construction. That's another thing I was going to ask you guys. Wait, no, I want to ask this. Do you guys drink at all when you're on the set while you're doing a movie, or no?
I'm not saying it's never happened around us, but it's definitely not something that we keep as a practice. People have slipped in and done it. You're not supposed to. It's always usually reserved for once the final shot of the day is done, and then you
once it's a
usually
wrap.
go to a different location, right?
Yeah. And then
it has happened where people have slipped in there, but it's not something that we encourage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Yeah. We've had because when we do some productions, that some people are known to drink a little bit, and I just wondered, do you ever have
vodka? So they
Yeah,
can't smell it.
do you ever have guys drink like you're like, I think the grip has got a little drunk today, because I didn't. You never know. I wanted to ask. I did. We got in well, Gary's inspired it. Gary was drinking.
It happens at Ed's place every weekend. I'm sorry, when they're open.
It does. That's not a joke. We do when we doing, you know, shows and people are drinking.
I think that's every profession to it, right?
It's terrible, you know, and it's not. I mean, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but I wait till the end of the night.
Beer 30.
So beer 30. And I was going to ask you guys. They were doing shots, and I'm not a big tequila drinker. I want to ask this too, real quick. I'm interjecting, James. Sorry about.
No, you're good.
About some. I don't know if you're a drinker. Are you a drinker or no?
You know, yeah, not as much as I do. I tend to lean toward wine or whiskey if I have anything to drink these days. Beer kind of bothers me more than it used to. But I don't know whether it's the wheat or the yeast or whatever.
Well, you probably had to work out for when you did Sandman, so that probably cut out the beer, and that'll do it right there.
That's about when I quit drinking beer, and it's been.
Is it? You're kidding? Yeah. Well,
so,
I recently started drinking because I was given some port wine, and so I was drinking port wine. So you said wine, so port. Like I said, I was given.
You don't drink port wine.
Ed, you
That's
don't have
a
no
dessert,
because
like
it says
a
wine in it. No
aperitif. I mean, you don't drink.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
They were
Sorry
telling
about
me.
Ed. We just can't teach him.
No, see, the thing was, I got a bottle. I think I threw it out. Otherwise, it was around here. Yeah, that I was showing these guys. I drink.
Ed, you don't throw anything out. Don't lie.
It's rolling around behind his chair right now.
I did the bottle of. Oh, and shout out to Muscle Vodka. But I was drinking that, and I was drinking the port wine. And Wayne said, "Don't," because I said I'm going to drink this bottle. He goes, "You don't want to drink it because
it's like sugar." That's all.
You'd have a hangover that would kill you in the morning.
No,
it's just meant to be like a little tiny. That's it.
Well, what happened was the other day I was talking to right over there is Gary Underglass, and we were talking about tequilas, and the only reason I asked is they brought tequila. The Kenny Santiago brought this tequila, and they were doing shot. Gary was drinking shots. We were talking about tequila, and my experience. My experience of tequila originally, which is horrible, was Jose Cuervo. All right, I don't know if you guys are fans of Jose, but it's
better than La Prima.
What is La Prima? Is that the one with the hat?
That's the one at the grocery store.
No, that's El Toro. La Prima is like on the bottom shelf, like shoved in the back a little bit.
Like mezcal. Like
it's terrible.
Mezcal has the worm, right? That's one that has the little worm.
Not all of it. Yeah, it's. Yes.
which I didn't get
It's just-
eating the worm out of it either.
Mezcal and tequila they're just brewed differently. That's all. It's
Okay.
different distillation.
Well, I'm just interjecting this because it just happened while he's the word association. So he brought in this tequila, not 1800. I can't remember what it was. Dark, too. That's the first time I've seen a dark tequila. Now, have you ever taken a shot? And as you go to drink a shot of liquor, it does this thing in the back of your throat where you almost feel like you're going to throw up.
When your brain's like, don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know
Like-
that. You know better. You should
right.
know that by
Gag.
now.
It was the oddest sensation that happened to me. And I'm asking, see, James, I've been talking to these guys about how I'm getting
Hold
older.
up. I'm going to give you a backstory, James. Ed went to a bar a couple months back with a lady friend. He bought him a shot. Ed spit the shot out when he tried to do it. So Ed talking about tequila shots.
I did. I spit it on her by accident. I didn't mean to. It was just so horrible.
It was
It
so
was
bad.
It didn't end.
I'm letting you know that she has not asked me out again.
Ed's boyfriend was pissed.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, it was not. It didn't end well. No, but anyway, so
Hey, things happen, Ed.
he brought in this. I know he brought in. The dude brought this other tequila in, and it was a dark one. I want to. I don't know what. I'm gonna have to ask him what. I'll text Kenny later and find out what that was. So he brought this stuff in. So we're like, and it's how. I wonder if he made it in his bathroom. For all I know,
homemade tequila.
Bathtub tequila.
Could have been. They make bathtub gin, don't they?
Prison toilet.
Tequila.
Piece of bread, a whole bunch of sugar in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Someone told me that there's something called prison wine, which is like,
Yeah, they make it in their toilet.
They do.
no, that's horrible. How do you do that when there's just like no tank? You know what I mean?
You got me.
Right, it's soaking in something. So anyway, so
Just a will, there's a way, bud.
he brought in this bottle and this brown liquid, and he said it was tequila. so we poured it out, and again, I'm asking because the shots. I'm not a big shot guy, so I tried.
We found that out.
It did this thing, and again, I'm worried about getting older because I just had a birthday, James. I turned 54, and
Hey, congrats. I did. I remember I hit you up last week.
Hey, you
Still
did.
can't
You
drink
did.
tequila.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. And
Yeah,
so
you
yeah,
got
I love you. You're awesome. So I took this shot of this fluid. And again, have you ever thrown up on something in the past, like say Jack Daniels?
Yes.
And anytime you smell that smell, it gives you the
Yeah, and your stomach does this.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Yes, I have a whole list. I can only drink like 3 things now.
Captain Morgan's rum.
Captain Morgan's is one thing I can drink.
You could drink
Yeah.
Kraken rum. I think you.
Jaeger.
Kraken's moving up the list.
Jaeger.
What about
Oh my
Jaeger?
God, that's-
Last time 2 Halloweens ago, I threw up Jaeger in our garbage disposal. My wife was not happy. I was like, "Brrr,
That's
it's
not on the
gone."
list.
How do you?
Yeah,
throw up in
Jaeger's
your
off the-
sink. You're kidding.
Because I walked in my side door and I had to throw up, and the sink was right there. So,
Hey, it's better than the countertop, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
so it was in the sink. I ran the garbage disposal, poured some liquid detergent down there. Gone.
I think we've all
I
been
think that's like the best place you could have. I mean,
But my choices were the floor, the counter, and the sink.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah, and Chuck's allowed to throw her up or
Oh, I'm a screamer. Bah!
he
Like
is.
my jaw unhinges.
He is. It's horrible. He's like, and then he's,
vibrates the whole house.
Oh yeah, dude, it's
God,
terrible.
yeah.
And then it's like so ridiculous. I'm laughing while I'm throwing up.
Yeah. I'm just. This is what happened to me, and I want to know because you're still young. You're what, 45, James?
43.
43.
Oh, he's
okay,
way
yeah.
young. Yeah.
Yeah, he's younger. So
Yeah.
so this will happen, and this is where I think I'm cresting a weird middle-aged crisis that's going on. My body is going a little crazy. I took this shot. He brought this shot in. And so what happened was this brown liquid, soon as it got near, it did that nose thing where you smell it like you know the liquor.
You shouldn't drink it.
Right, like your body, you get the what
You start salivating like
yes, yes, yeah. So that happened. I go, man, I don't know if I should do this. But then they got all the people from the set are there, and I don't want to look like a pussy. in
you
front
came
of all
to peer pressure.
he's like, and mine's got the biggest
Naturally,
chunks. I gotta drink it.
Well, this is what happened. This is what this knucklehead did. James, this is the guy, and I'm sure you've got someone in your area that, again, that's in your profession, an actor with you, that he's in every guy. You probably go to the set and you're like, oh, God, you're here again. You know, it's that guy. You know what I mean?
It's Ed.
No,
every town has a couple. Yeah.
Right. It's not.
They just show up. Oh, we heard you were filming.
Right. No.
Ed heard craft services was going to be there.
No, it's not me. But,
Hamburger.
Right. It's not me, but Kenny's the guy, and a great guy. Kenny's a good guy. He brought in something else called
Coquito.
Yeah,
Coquito.
Love
Every
Coquito.
Christmas he'll bring this in, and like Wayne said, it's always chunky. That's the odd that I didn't understand.
Have you ever had it, James?
I've never, no.
Oh,
Oh my God! If
stuff.
you can find Coquito, it's Puerto Rican eggnog, and
It's
is the
great.
best stuff ever.
Yes, it's good. It's not,
amazing.
right. Yeah,
Just
it
in time
is.
for the holidays, huh?
It's well for the holidays.
It's delicious.
Yeah. Have you
I'll
ever
have to
had?
keep an eye out. Man. We're early enough in the season. I'll find it.
Yeah. Have
Oh,
you ever
yeah,
had something
It's
called?
way
rum?
better than brown tequila.
Yeah. So did you throw it up, Ed? Did you do the shot and throw up?
No. This is the crazy part. The
You
rum
didn't
chata.
do it.
If you think, no, I did it. If you if you think of rum chata, James, if you ever get the chance to have rum chata, that's what Coquito's kind of like. It almost tastes like cinnamon toast crunch.
Oh, it's way better.
It's good, but anyways, so
Oh, you got my interest.
oh yeah, it's real good. And so, anyways, I have this shot. I did it, and the smell triggered something, and I'm looking at the shot, and I'm looking at the people looking at the shot, looking at the people.
So all eyes were on you to do it.
Because everybody, they're all like, Eric Roberts, like, because this cat, that's fine. God bless. Everyone, I don't want an autograph. I'll sign something for you if you want. I don't want an autograph, and that's me too. The check. That's me too. Like someone's, they think you want their autograph, and I'd rather give you mine than take their autograph. But never. So you're sitting there, I'm looking at them going, God damn, I got to do this horrible shot. So I take it, and this was the first mistake. Like when someone gives you, have you ever been out with your friends at the bar, and they're all like, "Let me buy you a drink,"
love it,
and they just give you some random shot,
crazy shit,
that you don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was that guy 2 weeks ago. I'll be honest. Here, try this. You're gonna love it. What is it? Don't worry.
Oh yeah, we did that for Halloween. We did a bar crawl in Cleveland, and I was like, a lot of the people in our group didn't really do a lot of shots or anything, especially like Samantha, my girlfriend. And I was like, listen, I tell the bartender, make something, kind of sweet. I don't want to say girly, but something easy that we could all just do to have fun, just to do it,
Right.
And they were the worst shots I've ever had in my life. They were not tasty. They were not sweet. They were horrible. They were like turpentine. He's like, isn't that good? If you like anise and sweet and sour mixed. It was horrible.
With eggnog and then the hot mustard from a Chinese.
Top it with some rubbing alcohol and light it on fire.
Oh God.
There you go.
That hurts my stomach thinking about it.
Oh, it was that. It was that. So yeah.
Right. Well, what happened was I was worried about doing this show because this is what happened. So I'm at the thing, and worst of all, James, I work with Techman Isaac and Judiki Leibowitz. All right, and these guys, they're diehards. They got one personality. Go. You know what I mean? That kind of guys. So they're the man's man where you give them bourbon and they'll chug it out of the bottle and won't even make the face. Like that's the worst too. When you're with people that can do a shot and there's no expression on their face.
Like it's water. Yeah.
Like it's water.
Like Ed's date
Not that
night.
guy.
Wait till Ed finds out that he's the only one drinking it. Everyone else had water.
Yeah. They could be. Wouldn't that be something?
I'm telling you.
No, this
Hey,
is
but you didn't puke, right? That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
no,
forgetting that.
no. I didn't,
Maybe.
I didn't puke.
James is too quick.
I didn't puke. This is what happened. This I want to ask you guys. I worry, and again, I think it's going to start dominating because I'm worried about my body is like changing on me. I got nose hairs coming out.
Puberty?
Not puberty. It's just that middle age thing.
He's a late bloomer.
I'm a late. So I got the shot, did the thing, seeing everybody. I'm like, God damn, I got to do it. So I did the first thing. I didn't take the whole. You do that little sip because it's a. They put.
Oh, see, that was the wrong
almost-
thing to do.
That's almost worse.
No,
That's
we don't
worse.
have for the because our theater, we don't like serving customers glass because we're afraid they'll chuck it. So-
Yeah. Oh, you had the little plastic ones?
Yes,
So
everything's
that
it's
in
the
makes it
double
even-
deuce from Roadhouse.
Except it
That
was the
makes-
double
Yes.
douche.
I
Yeah,
can't
and
drink out of plastic.
I hate. Don't you hate that? Yes.
Oh, it's terrible.
It
And
makes
then
me feel like I'm at a graduation party.
Wait a minute. They
Mhm.
have to give the workers plastic, Ed just pointed out. They can't even trust the workers with glass.
They don't get it. Yeah. The only glass, literally the only glass in our theater is down for the talent in the basement, and
Yeah.
it's coffee cups. You know, so they can drink tea and coffee.
Yeah,
So what happened was even our shot, and it's the most ridiculous goddamn thing. There are these little tiny plastic shot glasses that are plastic because it tastes then like, to me, maybe
Yeah,
it's-
that
Oh, it
mold
changes the whole
release.
taste. Yeah.
Nasty.
yeah, because you get it out of the sleep. What's that, Ringus?
You're talking about having a shitty shot taste.
For an hour.
And you're
Yeah.
worried about plastic now all
Yeah.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. He's throwing the cap away off a port
I was
wine.
gonna say I'm ready to drink just because the story's still fucking
Yeah.
dragging on. And I'm
Oh,
drinking out
yeah.
of plastic.
Because I
The
got to
stuff
lay the
that you're-
groundwork.
The stuff he's drinking breaks down plastics.
It's
Dissolves plastic.
Yeah, there you go.
that's why you got to drink it quick because it starts oozing out the bottom of the glass.
Chucky, what were we talking about here?
No, so stop.
You know,
it.
he lost me a half
Stop
hour
it.
ago.
So I get
Yeah.
this shot. I didn't do because I thought mine was a double. It didn't look like a normal shot. It was like a double. So, but I did the first thing and I didn't put it all, and then the flavor hit me that it was something. You know, like the taste of a shoe.
So the second one went over the shoulder.
Yeah, yeah. So then I was like, well, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. So I got to do the rest in there. But my body did not agree with my mind's process. All right, my mind. I didn't throw up. But have you guys ever accidentally you're eating and you swallow air? Like when you swallow something like an air pocket.
I usually eat food and swallow that. Just throwing it out there.
No, that was a weird thing. When I swallowed, because my body was in one direction trying to push it out and the other direction trying to shove it down, it got caught. Like right in here where I felt like an air bubble was here.
Like a volcano getting ready to come back up.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure. I was fighting. Because I'm just not a big kind of whiskey, alcohol drinker.
Pussy.
No,
Huh.
I just can't do straight. I mean, you want to mix it up all day long, I'll mix it up. You know, you do rum and Coke, whatever, I'll do all day long. But just straight shot of it is just so intense for me. So I swallowed it, but I could feel it go all the way down. In this air bucket, for whatever reason, that it came back up now, and I went like I burped, like, you know, you're thinking why burp, but I think it gave. See, James doesn't know. If you listen to the past shows, I have this bad tooth on this side, and
There's no tooth there. It's just the dry socket.
I have a dry
Couple
socket.
Nerves. Just
Yeah.
That's a painful one.
What I did
Hunk of
was
cheese hiding out.
Ew. Ew.
some Skittles.
Oh.
I was eating Skittles. I was eating Skittles today.
Yes, we know.
What does that mean? I don't go Skittle. Skittle. No, I don't. So what happened is I occasionally, James, because I went to a cheap dentist when I didn't have the money. I went.
It was in a van. That's believable.
The dentist gave him a Roman helmet.
At a
No,
truck stop.
it's just I went to this dentistry called Horizon Dentist, and it was a like when the dentist
They were like the fresh out of school guys.
yeah
Training.
Yeah.
It's like
Dental-
it was like cosmetology
Yeah.
school for dentists.
Yeah. It's like taking your
You got the
car and
practice.
having everybody at the joint vocational school work on it.
Hey, you're talking to a couple people here that went to a vocational school.
Exactly.
Which is why I don't work on cars.
right. So what happened? So I did this, and then when I burped, it like dislodged something in there, which
In
made
your tooth?
Yeah. Well, I ate lunch, and then but I think I had something stuck in there, in the dry socket.
Okay.
Chicken wing?
It released some kind of flavor that now is embedded in my head.
Pistachio.
Pistachio. Where does that?
That's the color I'm picturing. You know that greenish, brownish color of a pistachio? That's what I'm picturing your dry socket looking like.
Ew.
I want to throw up on that, not tequila.
No, I just but now all
Human.
human. All I can think about is that flavor now with that bottle. It's like my brain just did this.
The connection,
and just connected,
So now
and
if
it
you
ruined
smell
it.
It just triggers it, right?
It triggers everything now, and that's what's. I think that just happened to me, and now I was worried. I'm like, oh my, and it made my throat feel odd because of that air pocket. That's what I said. If you guys, when you take your pills, how do you guys take your pills?
Just swallow them.
What do you mean?
Ed takes them like a suppository.
No, no.
He's cutting out the middleman.
No,
Parachutes them.
When you take a pill, like, how do you take a pill? How do you really take it? Like, say you're going to take your medicine. How do you take
grind them
put
up
them in
and
your mouth
snort
and
'em?
Do you
swallow
put
them
it in
down.
your mouth first and
Yeah.
do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them in your
Yeah.
hand, throw them in your mouth, drink the water.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
What do you do?
But, well, first
You
of all,
suck on them for a little bit, get that irony
You
taste.
put it in like a little. Do you hide it in a treat, like a dog? You sit
Peanut
down.
butter.
He keeps spitting the pill out. Dang
Fry
it.
it in your egg roll.
He keeps spitting the pill.
that's it. I've done that, dude. I've taken the pill and put it on my tongue, and I could drink an entire glass of water and go, it's still on my tongue. I don't know. So what my mom trained me to do,
Oh boy.
my mom trained me to do what I do, and
Put it in a
Just
piece of
chew them up,
cheese.
Eddie.
no, I don't chew it up. Get
The one shaped like Barney you can chew up.
Oh.
Nobody liked the green ones, man.
I take my pill. The way I do it is I'll fill my mouth with whatever fluid I'm gonna drink with the. Don't stop it, Chuck. And then look at his eyes. No, I put whatever fluid, like water. Thank you. I fill it with water, and I'll take the pill,
And
tilt my head
then-
back, drop it, and wait till I can feel it.
Stick
like,
it up my butt.
No.
You actually wait for that thing to dunk through the water until it hits your uvula in the back of your throat and the gag reflex takes over.
And then I swallow, and that's how the pill goes down.
Your boyfriend must love you.
No, that's the only way that I can get it to go down.
Oh, I feel like that would be more torture just leading up to that.
Yeah.
Like it's like Seagal said,
Ed's
with the
life is
anticipation
lots of
death is
torture.
better than death itself.
You see what we put up with, James,
In
these
slow motion.
stories?
Right.
Who's doing that?
That's Wayne. It's got to be Wayne. No,
I thought it was Gary.
It's terrible.
no, I don't know why. I
So if you have to take more than one, you have to do them one at a time.
no, I can take. But here's the thing too.
Oh, it
with
could
my
take more than
pills.
one at a time.
I have to-
I'm sorry, audience, for asking.
Thank you, Chuck.
No, I have to categorize my pills. And in other words, like I'll take
Why?
vitamins. I'm taking with
Little
James,
ones to big ones. You work your way up.
I take like 12 vitamins and miscellaneous
Do you?
things. Just
What, you
that,
put
and I
gravy
fill my
on 'em and eat
hand.
it?
I can take my hand under the sink and fill it with just and swallow everything.
You gotta be kidding me! Isn't it dry as a bone?
I'm an
going down your-
adult.
Because we're normal, Ed.
I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. I'm
No,
Hey,
first of
James,
all,
do you take supplements or anything?
he has to.
Yeah,
The
I'll
shape
do
he's
some
in.
things from like vitamins and like glutamate, arginine, your basic stuff.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
GNC or something that's been proven or tested. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
So
Proven
wait,
and
let me
tested.
hold on, Ed.
That's right. I wanna
Yeah,
get
wait a
on
You
minute.
got
that.
do you have problems at all? Do you have a special way you have to take them, or do you do it like everybody else and just put it in your mouth and drink them down?
I try not to think. If I overthink it, that's when you run into problems. So I drink it right away. But I will do at least a half a glass of water to make sure it goes down. Though, because in the back of my mind, if I don't get enough fluid, They could be stuck somewhere. So
you gotta wet the
I just
ramp.
drink as much as what's that?
Wet the ramp.
Yeah, you gotta wet the ramp.
Yeah, sure. That's understandable.
Get a good lather going, it'll slide in.
But that's still normal.
No, and here's another thing too. I have to, like, say a vitamin. Okay, I take 4 vitamins that these guys have already made fun of me, and they got 2 new ones. I got the ginseng.
That's a knife.
And the something ginkaloba.
For memory.
Ginkgo
Yeah, I take that one. Yeah,
Something
I see it's working.
Thank you, Chucky. Thank you.
Can't remember the name of it. It's from memory.
Ashwagandha or whatever.
I do take ashwagandha, deer antler.
Deer antler.
I take deer
Edge
antler.
coming up to the rut season here at Thanksgiving.
You teeth on it.
I put a salt lick in his driveway, and he's out there.
No, and but here's the thing with the vitamins, because they're gel caps, and it's like a little cap. But
you got to swallow those quick.
What?
Gel caps break down quick.
Yeah, they don't fool around.
I know. That's the first
stick.
problem. That's the very first problem I discovered.
Yeah, you can't play around with those.
No, I've
because you'll
had
be
that
tasting
happen.
what's inside in a matter of seconds.
It's not good.
Yes.
Normally, no. But hopefully the cheese he's got it wrapped in will
In the bologna.
mask it.
That is too funny. Sausages.
I get it in the sausage, and I nibble all the way around.
What are those bacon strips that they eat?
Yeah.
Strips. Yeah.
No, and again, it's got to be because this is how mental I am, James. I'm telling you, you don't understand. You got to go back in the history of the show to see my neuroses as I go through, because I have to take my pills and position them in the right direction, because I've taken.
Did you ever see that show Monk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
They dialed
the
it
blue-
down for that show. They were
I
looking
feel like
ahead.
every time I come on, we go toward vitamins somehow. It must be like a main topic.
I just thought
I have
about
to
it
go
because
back into the episodes I've been on, but I feel like we always end up on vitamins.
Usually it's poop. So
well,
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, right.
I have to spin it around because the gel cap.
You wait a minute, Ed. You're going to tell me the edge of a gel cap catches in your throat?
I've had it happen. I've had it. Maybe in my head.
It went sideways.
Oh, I've had that.
This is just.
I've had my one a day get lodged in like my tonsil back there when it went sideways and got lodged back here, and I'd eat a piece of bread to get it to go down.
it would eventually dissolve. With slow release vitamin.
Turned into a 2 a day.
2 a day.
Just an terrible feeling.
So, getting back to James, I'm curious.
Thank you.
I see you on not Instagram, Twitter, that you're doing a lot of stuff with wrestling now.
Yeah, I guess a lot of that stemmed
You did
early
before.
on.
You were doing
I'm sorry?
wrestling stuff before, weren't you?
Well, yeah, I had worked on a few wrestling films, like with Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. We had talked about that, and I got to work with Roddy
that's
Piper.
cool.
Oh, no shit. You were on that? That's cool.
Yeah, it was a great time.
I saw when that
And then
stuff all came out. That was cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been, well, it was, 2013, I guess we filmed that. And, yeah, it was such a great experience, though, being able to do that.
Sorry.
No, but
And
I
it's
just feel like I've seen on Twitter you're with wrestlers or boxers.
Well, a little bit of both, man. Yeah, I was affiliated with Pin the Shoulders podcast for a while. And what that did is we ended up interviewing a lot of wrestlers around the world. I went on as a guest like I did here originally, and we hit it off so well, they asked me to come back and help co-host on occasion.
Right.
So we would interview like even some legends like Al Snow from the WWE and King Thunder Rosa, who's on the rise in AEW right now. So we got to interview a lot of up and comers too a few years back, and so I guess just opened a lot of doors. And it's funny because a lot of them are crossing over, like they're becoming actors too now, and we're bumping elbows and we're working with each other between wrestling and acting world, and even musicians. We're all kind of bumping elbows right now and kind of pushing each other forward, which is kind of cool, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Did you ever have a wrestler that wanted, like you're saying, do a crossover, and you could just tell talking to him? In other words, he would talk, or maybe you could just tell he didn't have the aptitude, or he or she didn't have the aptitude to be an actor. In other words, I hate to say that they.
But they were only good for like a stunt double.
Hey, if Lou Ferrigno could pull it off,
there you go.
I mean, hello.
You know what?
what I'm saying? I'm without saying
No,
it.
I know
like,
what you're saying.
You can look at him and go, you were you're the crash test dummy. You're the guy in wrestling that always gets tossed out of and lands on his dome.
The guy in the red shirt, Ed.
He's a red shirt.
Yeah, red shirt.
He's a red shirt.
Yeah,
you know what? It's not like we work together every day. The times I've been fortunate to be with some really experienced wrestlers that have crossed over, and they got a lot of character to begin with. So the ones that I've been around, have it deep inside them to want to be able to act anyway, because they're performers too.
Right.
They're acting from day one, or they're not making it in the wrestling business either. And they got to be able to convince a crowd every day too. So it's not that far of a jump for them.
Good point.
A lot of them are physical comedy. Not physical comedy, physical portrayal. Like wrestling's very physical, and acting, you can do the physical, but you also have to be a good actor.
For sure, man. Absolutely. You can't just, gain it overnight. You have to have it. And a lot of these guys are really gifted, man. And especially when it comes to like action and comedy, they cross over into action and comedy real well.
Really?
Because you're definitely going to take them serious in action, because they can move, they can go.
Look at what John Cena has become,
or The Rock.
Yeah,
sure. Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. Well, I thought that's what the big thing recently, because he was in Suicide Squad or something, John Cena.
Mm-hmm. Did he? I didn't see much recent with him.
I
wouldn't be surprised though. He's done a lot lately.
Yeah, and I thought that's what he was really happy getting a chance to do comedy, because that's what he said he always wanted to do. But
for a big guy, I mean, he's got a big comedic presence. You know what I mean?
Now, have you ever sat with these wrestlers and some of them were just, you're almost intimidated because they're so big, or no?
No, I tell you what, for me, it was more like surreal nostalgia, if anything. And I don't get that very often, just because I bump elbows with a lot of people. But like when we did Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, man, I'm not even gonna.
Wait, did you say versus Amishmen? Is that what you said?
Zombies.
Oh, zombies.
I thought
he said Amishmen.
It's just crazy as it sounds, Ed. But when I got to work with Rowdy Piper and hang out with him, I just, you can't help it. That fan comes out.
You were a little fanboy all of a sudden?
Yeah, man. I watched him do so much as a kid that I couldn't help but just be in awe of what I was seeing. But the cool thing was he treated all of us like equals, man. And this is a guy that not only was he a great wrestler, but people forget that he was a SAG-carrying actor, man, for a long time.
Oh, he was in They Live.
Oh yeah, that was a great movie. That's a
cool. And I say it all the time. It's one of the best street fights I've ever seen in a film anywhere, and that stands still today. I've not really seen it get overmatched. And a lot of that was Piper selling it the way he can only,
How about, have you seen some of them that it took its toll on all that wrestling took its toll on their body? Because isn't it one of those things that once they stop, in other words, once they retire, it's like everything just goes and just kind of stops on them. And they're, it's almost like if a bodybuilder's constantly work, and then all of a sudden they stop doing it, it almost affects their heart, and they have heart attacks, or they have issues.
Well, those guys, Ed, are beating themselves up every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, all out like a bus hits them. They got hardly no recovery time. You know what I mean? I mean, my God.
To none. And if there's even health insurance
in the hospital.
Yeah. They're just, they got to go. They got to go injured, man. And I give it up to them because it's not easy. And some of them do that for decades.
This might, I don't want this to come out wrong, so I apologize. I grew up on the era of Dusty Rhodes, the Iron Sheik. I mean, old guys.
Dragon.
And I'm not,
cutting themselves with razor blades.
Yeah, I'm not belittling the new guys, which is more theatrical also to today. But them other guys, I mean, they really threw themselves out of the ring. And, like I said, I'm not trying to fault the Rock and these guys nowadays, more theatrical. But in my mind, those guys didn't have fake chairs beating or cardboard tables they threw on each other. I mean, they really
they had Ric Flair, man. Come on.
Each other,
Woo!
That's what he did. Like, really enemies. I mean, them guys, they would go hardcore.
I
they
like
don't
Ric
make
Flair.
them like that anymore. Yeah.
No, they
I like
do
Ric
not.
Flair. That was Hulkamania. That was Randy Macho Man Savage. Oh, that was
Remember
the good.
Animal and Hawk, the Road Warriors?
Oh yeah. What were the two Australian ones that always walked like this? Are they
No.
not the no
Bushwhackers?
Bushwhackers?
Yes.
The Bushwhackers.
Yes.
Yeah. Those were the good old days, man. And then there was one.
That
that-
was great. It was a great time.
I don't
Hacksaw
know
Jim
any
Duggan.
of them.
Oh really? You didn't-
I never watched it. I never. I mean, some of the names obviously, but I never. Not that I wasn't a fan. I just was never exposed to it to where it was even a thing. I mean,
The
I'm sure
original
when
Four
do it-
Horsemen.
Oh yeah.
I remember hearing it. I remember the masks and the cool. You know,
Arn
I just-
Anderson.
Oh yeah. Demolition. Like there were so many cool ones,
Oh
man.
God, Demolition.
I heard
yeah.
you say Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He worked
Yep.
with us on Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies too. So another
Did he
legend.
really?
Right on.
That had to be actually fun. Was that a fun time for you?
It was a blast, man. Yeah, it was a blast. I just
Did you
so
feel
it was just so
bad?
cool to be able to stand there with those guys. What's that?
Did you feel bad taking photos with them, or any, or they wanted to take photos with you and stuff?
No,
It was
yeah,
an
no, they
honor.
were great about it, man.
Because sometimes
I
you
spent
get-
an entire lunch break with Rowdy Piper, man. I made him talk, walk the halls. It was just us.
Wow. That's
You know, I had
awesome.
probably 45 minutes of just me and him walking up and down the halls, checking out an old prison that was run down that we were filming in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And it was cool, man. We were just, everybody else had gone out to eat. We didn't know the area. And it's coincidentally, the two of us had just stayed behind. And it was just, you know, as luck would have it, we got to spend that time together and
Right
tell a
on.
few stories. And
That's
it was pretty cool.
amazing.
Did you get in your car and instantly start crying? Oh my god!
No, I was probably as close as I've ever come, though. It was,
Right on.
It was just a
Yeah.
great feeling, you know, because this is somebody that I had so much respect for and then watched for so, and you weren't disappointed. They tell you not to meet your heroes. In
Yeah.
this particular
That's
occasion,
yeah.
man, like that couldn't be further from the truth. He was.
Wow.
Wasn't he the one that slept Andy Kaufman? So Randy Kaufman said it was
No.
fake.
It's Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jerry
yeah.
the King Lawler. You're all right. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
I got a question for you, James. Have you you know you're saying you rub elbows with all these people and meet all these people, and have you ever met anybody that you're like, oh my god, I'm so excited to meet him, and then you meet him and you're like, oh my god, you're such a tool.
Right.
I don't name names. I mean, you know, unless you want to.
It's
but-
happened to me a couple of times, and I won't name names because there's a chance I'll work with them again down the road.
Right,
I-
right.
Ed
I am
Money.
professional.
But it could rhyme with.
Ed Money.
it could sound like.
That's like the
It's not all the time, but it is, and it's been more on the Hollywood side of things than on the independent side. I've seen it a couple
Yeah.
of times. One in particular, I'm not naming names, but just had everybody in an uproar down all the way down to the catering department that would never work with them again.
Oh,
Really?
geez. You're
Yeah,
kidding.
it was very disappointing because it's somebody that I had watched on television for years and thought the world
Wow.
was as an actor, you know what
Right.
I mean? And as an entertainer, I still do like him, but as a person, you get a different opinion,
right.
you know. And I try to
have a
remember that
feeling-
when we're on set because people work with you, man. They form an opinion right away, so you try to leave a good impression with others.
I have a feeling that happens a lot. You know, with
It
some of
does.
these, they get so big, larger than life. You know,
Let it get to their head.
hear about
Ooh.
But there are so many that are just an absolute pleasure too, man. I've gotten to work with so many. Like Willem Dafoe is a complete gentleman, just so much fun. And Michael
Wow.
Caine, you know, I spent time with him. And these guys, you just if they breathe, you learn something.
Right
Yeah,
on.
they're just and they're that cordial and that.
And they're willing to teach and learn, you know, to show
Yeah.
the education to everybody.
correct, absolutely.
Have you ever worked with someone? Say I'm gonna, as you were growing through the industry, that you worked with someone, and then all of a sudden you guys start like you. I would say you're a notable actor. People would know who you are, and they're along with you, and then all of a sudden they don't really want to talk to you anymore, or they've kind of blown you off. Have you had that happen?
I had it happen early on in my career. You know what I mean? To where they were obviously at a much higher point than myself. You know, and some still are, right? But it's funny how sometimes they'll change their opinion of you a few years later once you start to rise in the ranks and they start to see you maybe not so much as an equal, but they see you as a talent, as opposed to somebody
cool.
just starting out that like had no resume and they could care less about you, but then now
Right.
all of a sudden they have all kind of time for you. I've seen that turn around on a dime.
Really? And then they had
yeah,
to eat. They had to kind of eat crow, and then then get a hold of you and say, "Oh,
And you,
yeah."
and you can be the bigger person. You don't even have to say anything because you know in your mind. You know what I mean?
Right. And you
In
know
spite
they
of what
know.
they thought
Yeah,
of you, or
right.
treated you, you still rose anyway because you just kept doing your thing.
Were you like a total douche to him? Were you looking at me like, I want him off the set? You know,
No,
one of those?
No, you know why?
You
Because
didn't
that's,
do
that's
that?
what I hated, man. That's how they were. And I don't want to show that as an example. of
Yeah,
somebody
he's not gonna
around.
be
I don't want to.
You
I
never
don't want
know.
to slay somebody.
Don't wanna
that's trying
stoop to
chase
their
their
level.
dream.
No, I'm not that you're stupid to their level, but I see, this is my problem too. is I
inside you might be thinking it, right? Yeah,
right.
I'm not saying you didn't think it, right?
That I keep, and I know you're gonna. This is just so horrible. I purge and share too, James. A lot of the reason I say this, a lot of stuff that comes out on the shows is because this guy over here, well, on my screen that's recording, this guy Chuck over here. If I don't purge and share, he leaves me horrible messages, finds out all the things that I didn't talk about, and then becomes.
You gotta own it. You don't own it, you're a target.
Right.
That's
so
it.
yeah. So what I do and I'm horrible at it, and I've struggled. We've been January 4th will be 15 years that I've been doing the show, and it's taken a long time to where now you can reach us on for the audience out there listening. Please go to Amazon. We're on iHeart. We're on Spotify. All the things you can just Google Late Night with Ed Money, Player FM, all these amazing places that now carry us. And the show it took a long time though. The arduous task, war of attrition. You keep going, but what I do is I keep a mental note. And I physically have a file that I keep on my computer of people that kind of blew me off. You know what I mean?
You have a physical file of mental notes?
He thinks about it, and then
it's interesting. Thank God you're taking vitamins.
You on the show, you mean?
He's got that ginkgo biloba or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Like,
do you know that
you mean
Dwayne
people said
Johnson
were coming
and The
on show
Rock?
and just didn't come on for you, or
No, I'm
things like
sorry.
that?
What was that, James?
You mean like people that just didn't show up for the show?
No, not that. No, what it was is
we've had it. I've had it happen in the past. You know what I mean? With
no, not
like
that
the
you didn't
show we
show
were
up.
talking about earlier.
No,
it
not
does
yet.
happen.
I mean, yeah, the things that people can't make it. I get that. Just like when you were supposed to come in.
No, but sometimes people do. They will just blatantly blow you off.
I think Ed means people that have just turned their back on him. Not even, not showing is like you said, that can happen.
That happens.
Family.
That bothers Ed. I mean, people that just
family and friends
look down on him.
No, James, here's the thing, and this has got to happen in every industry, including what you're doing. Is the fact that like this, I keep mental and physical notes of the people that, as I've been through the years, that I would say, hey, look, I got the show, we're growing, it takes time, but because internet radio or internet shows like this, we were way ahead of the curve. I mean, this being on now 15 years, we were way.
Now we're still stuck on the curve.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was ahead of the curve. It was long before people were doing this. Now everybody does it, but we've already got the format done. We got everything.
Pre-COVID. Thank you.
Yeah, right. The whole 9 yards. But I would remember people that when I would go to and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Would you like to come on? Would you like to support us? Would you like to be a part of it? Can I even just mention you? You mentioned me, something. And they were like, either they didn't get it, or
they don't date freshmen.
They were, yeah, right. People like my mom. No, I'm kidding. No, but just,
well, your mom dated freshmen.
But just, people that would, especially haters, man. Especially haters that
everywhere.
Because this is my old expression, and Chucky understands. I've said it before. Is that I would tell these son of a bitches? I'd say, "Hey, you're the first son of a bitch to tell me that I suck, but you're also the first son of a bitch to stand in line and say you know me." You know what I mean? And, but so I literally
every industry that
and I'm like, I remember you. And I have a file that I keep in my filing cabinet of people that once I reach a plateau at certain points, that when they come up and say, hey, your show, can I be on it? And I'm like, yeah, how about now? And that's, I've literally done that. And does it happen in your career where you were starting out and people are like, oh, James, you're never going to make it, or, that project is dumb, or anything along that lines. And now they say, hey, that's my friend James. James, come on, why don't you come on over my house or whatever. So you have that.
For sure. It still goes on. This is the #1 industry in the world for shit talkers and non-believers. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the people outside of it that aren't in it.
Yes.
And the crazy shit is some of them are friends of yours and they're related to you.
That's what I'm asking.
Misery loves company, and if it's anything you try in this life, no matter what it is, you start to chase your dream, dude, the haters will arrive by drones.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then it's just the way it is, man. That's how you know you're doing something right. Because they don't want to take a chance on themselves. They certainly aren't going to take a chance on you, and they don't want to see you do good until you start doing good. And then they have to eat their words. But because somebody tells you can't do it, or they don't believe in you, that don't make it so. You know when you're doing something good. Look how far you brought the show in 15 years. It's obviously so. And any Any
He's still in his
industry.
basement.
Yeah. Any film I've ever done, somewhere along the line, somebody's in their basement critiquing it in their parents' house, sitting in their underwear going, that's crap.
Yeah,
acting.
right, yeah.
They all sucked. You know what I mean?
Trying to choke down a vitamin.
I'm not wearing underwear.
You can't do. That's how I look at it. And
Oh my goodness.
somebody's always going to do that, man. You just can't pay attention to it, you know?
I guess.
Sometimes I think it drives you.
I can't.
What was the worst like hate mail you ever got?
Oh God, I can only imagine that.
Hate mail?
So bad that it was funny. Yeah.
Right.
Somebody actually took the time.
I think it's come. What's that?
Somebody actually took the time to put it down. You know what I mean? Before Twitter and Facebook.
No, it
Yeah,
could be
it's-
Twitter and Facebook.
Oh,
I just want to
okay.
hear the worst thing somebody ever said to him.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Oh, just like your whole team sucks. You know, nobody there.
You're kidding.
You guys, hey, yeah, you guys don't even know how to hold a gun. You know, I mean, we've heard it all. You know, we had one poster come out where one of us were holding a gun, and they sent a message and said that, like, "Oh, look, another movie with a gun. How creative!" Like,
Oh,
people
you're
just they
kidding.
say the dumbest shit to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you must think you're in Hollywood. Yeah, guess what? If I don't think it, who the fuck's gonna? You know what I mean?
Right.
I gotta
Right.
believe it first, or nobody's gonna. And they
Right,
gotta
you gotta sell it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
And so, but yeah, I probably heard it all along the way. You know, even family and friends, like, why are you doing this? Why are you chasing that? And there we are years and years later. They're going, hey, you actually did it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah. That's funny because some of them will come to you, though, and go, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I used to talk shit because 90% of the people that go for it don't do it, and you're actually doing it, man. And so, you know, I'm sorry if I support you now.
See, I agree
That's
with
not
that.
always the case.
Life
you
is
know,
short.
I
You're like,
agree with
thanks,
you.
Mom.
I
Thanks,
would
Mom.
see. That's the thing too. I try and do, including like the show. I always like doing things that everybody else isn't doing. They're doing it anyways. You know,
Yeah.
why jump along that? I'll just continue what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they'll want, sooner or later. What is that old thing? They mirror success. In other words, once they see your success, that's when they'll try and do what you're doing.
Exactly.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to do what they're doing. I want them to do what I'm doing because that means that I'm more successful than them.
It's funny because I had one friend, and I won't name him, but he's a comedian by trade, right? And he used to talk about a couple of us that were friends of his who were actors early on, and he would go, "You guys are fucking nuts," you know, things like that. Why are you taking chances like that? You're not going to make it. And I'm going, you do the same fucking thing on a stage as a comedian.
Right. You have
Maybe
to.
supporting us, and we can do it for you. And that's when people then they go, something clicks. You're like, oh, I guess you're right. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy because we support musicians, comedians, wrestlers. We
Yes.
bump elbows with everybody, boxing.
Yes.
I've got a lot of contacts in that world. If you're fighting for something, man, we want to push you forward. I don't know what this whole.
Well, I
acting
do.
like
You know
better
what?
than the other thing.
I want to thank you for all the support that you've always been gracious to me,
Single
and been
tear.
nice enough to come on my
Thank you,
show.
likewise.
Which I can't thank you enough for that, James. You're always fantastic, dude. You got an open invitation. You know that anytime.
Thank you, man.
And
I
I'm going to
appreciate
put, like I said, your thing of, because I know we've gone way over, and I know everybody kind of works in, well, at least Wayne and Chuck over there does.
3:30 a.m., brother.
Like everyone but you.
What, I was going to say, what the hell am I?
Well, yeah, and Reagan's over here. Yeah, and Gary and we just sit around and laugh. all
I
day
don't
long.
work.
But James, thank you very much. Audience members,
My pleasure.
again, you had James
Thank you.
Quinn on here. Fantastic guy. You're going to see, I'll put the photos on the YouTube. Go to the YouTube. That way you'll be able to see, like, share, subscribe. You'll be able to see the photo of the family affair. You said I can put that on there. And I'll
Yeah,
put the checkmate poster
Yes.
that you've done up there as well. Because you only did one, again, of the family affair. I think it was one of you kind of sitting. It was just an unusual pose, but I'll be putting it on. And we're going to be leaving with a Nice Guy and Slimmy Neutron, their song Heartbeat. Check that out. That's also at the end of the YouTube video. You see the little things on there. Thank you for all the things you do. Audience members, you're always listening to myself, Ed Money. Right over here is CPAP Chuck.
Wait, that wasn't. My bad. Wrong button.
That was
Hell, I
good.
dropped the ball on that one, didn't I?
That's right. Right over here is Ringus, the Bionic Vampire Prepper.
Have a good evening.
Right, he's over here. Is you don't see him, but for the audience, you could hear him and his comments and laughing. Is Gary under glass?
What?
Last but not least, always keeping me in balance and check is A1 Continuity. Wayne morning.
See you guys.
And right over here was our special guest, James Quinn, coming from his house and his office there, which we love. I love all the stuff in the background.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
Bravo,
James.
brother.
Always been fantastic.
Bravo.
Always a pleasure, guys.
Being a
Thanks
part
for
of the
having
show. Always tell 2 people because you can change the world. As audience members. So thank you for all the things you do. Remember that you don't be materialistic because it gets you nowhere. And always remember that you are somebody. And after that, we are out of here.
Got so tired of waiting for the brand new you. How could a bond this week really be through? Yeah, we tried, and days they passed us by, broke down, and we cried. Yeah, command the relief that I feel inside because feel my heart beat now. 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 I know you gave it your best to tell me time and time again. It just wasn't cutting it the time you put in it. I feel your pain, but the pleasure's much better. This rhythm that I'm feeling got me right in this letter. Yeah, we tried, and days they passed us by, broke down, and we cried. Yeah, command the relief that I feel inside because feel my heart beat now. Feel my heart beat now. Feel my heart beat now. Feel my Feel my heart beat now. Feel my heart beat now. Feel my heart beat now. Feel my
You've been listening to Late Night with Ed Money, brought to you by 3 Bowls of Crunch Production. Late Night with Ed Money is a copyrighted show, and any unauthorized reproduction for sale is strictly prohibited without written and or verbal consent from Ed Money. Otherwise, we'll find out where you live and beat the shit out of you. Thank you for listening.